It's called Standard Operating Procedure 303, and it gives the Department of Homeland Security the authority to kill cell phone service during critical emergencies. But not much else is known about it. Lisa Stark is here with more. Lisa.
Well, John, nearly everyone agrees that the government should have the authority to cancel, to kill some cell phone service in some cases, for example, to thwart a terrorist attack. But the question is, how does the government decide if that's really necessary to kill the cell phone service? The public doesn't know that, and there's a big battle going on to try to change that. Cell phones connect us to family and friends, to the internet, to the world. But what if suddenly the government cut off service? It's called the internet kill switch.
Right.
What is that?
It's basically the ability to turn off cell phones and turn off the networks for anyone using a cell phone.
The Department of Homeland Security calls it Standard Operating Procedure 303.
These are the rules that the Department of Homeland Security uses when they decide to shut down a cell phone network.
Alan Butler and his group have been fighting in court for nearly 4 years to get a copy of the rules. After a judge ordered DHS to turn them over, here's what Butler got: pages and pages, all redacted.
What's critical and what is the underlying purpose of this case is that the rules for when the government can and cannot shut down these networks should be public.
The federal rules were developed in 2006 after an uproar when New York City officials temporarily shut down cell service in the city's tunnels. The officials were worried terrorists who had bombed London's subways might use cell phones to detonate explosives in Manhattan. No one thought much about the rules until 2011. That's when the Bay Area Rapid Transit shut off cell service at San Francisco stations just before a protest over the killing of an unarmed man by a BART police officer. Davey Cook is an activist in the Bay Area.
Most of the communication and most of the organizing of protests was taking place through social media, through Twitter, through Facebook, and then of course on the spot, people were communicating through text messaging. So that then of course became this, well, we can cut the protest by cutting off the way in which they communicate.
BART said it shut off the service because, quote, a civil disturbance during commute times could lead to platform overcrowding and unsafe conditions. But critics said the action violated free speech.
Fundamentally, whether I agree with you politically, you don't have a right to stop me from communicating.
National security expert Jerome Hauer agrees.
You have to be very sure that when you shut it down, there is a real defensible public safety reason for doing it.
Now, the Department of Homeland Security is still fighting to keep this document private, away from the public. We reached out to DHS today about this. A spokesman said, we are not going to comment on that.
And why does the government say the documents can't be released?
Well, they're not arguing that it's classified. They're arguing it's a law enforcement document. They're arguing that people could be harmed if this is released because perhaps it would be someone who would be near a bomb, and if the DHS can't turn off cell phones, maybe that explosive would go. So they've made a couple of arguments like that.
Where does the court battle now stand between the government and Epic?
Well, the government won the latest round. In fact, a 3-court panel at the Court of Appeals here in D.C. agreed with the government that the document does not need to be released. Epic is trying to appeal to the U.S. Court of Appeals. If that doesn't work, the only option is the Supreme Court.
All right, Lisa Stark in Washington. Lisa, thank you.